I complained to my doctor, my regular doctor, about pains here and pains there, but he always said, can't find anything, there's nothing wrong.
She had this pain in her stomach and it wouldn't go away.
I was losing blood and they didn't know where it was going.
What was I thinking? I'm not really sure. Just really wondering why she would be losing this blood, and being that the doctors couldn't find out what was going on.
My husband told him she's not taking the pain pills. It doesn't help her. She just wants the pain to go away.
When I heard the diagnosis, I was shocked.
I went to the emergency room because I was hurting. I don't quite remember, but they told me I had pneumonia. So they gave me medication and I took the medication.
She got sick with pneumonia. She had it for quite a while and it lasted up until Thanksgiving or a little bit after Thanksgiving. But I remember on Thanksgiving Day, me and her, we normally make lunch. We normally make lunch together. And that Thanksgiving we didn't because she was still sick with pneumonia and she wasn't feeling good. By the time lunch was done, everybody was eating and my mom said that she couldn't eat because she wasn't feeling good. So I remember not eating that day because I was worried about my mom and I was scared that pneumonia was going to take her.
2 weeks later, I still wasn't feeling good. So back to the emergency room and they told me I had a bladder infection and pneumonia. And then I left. And then I had this pain in my stomach that had been going on and I never really complained about it, but it was there and it was bothersome. It would come and go. I could feel it at work quite often. And that my last trip to the emergency room, that pain in my stomach would just not go away. It kept getting worse and worse. So when I got there, I told them about the pain in the stomach. Actually, I went to first care, and first care told me that I had to go to the emergency room. So with that, they did blood work, and my blood work showed that I was anemic, and I was losing blood. So that's where they thought I had a bleeding ulcer. And they ran tests to do that. I was admitted into the hospital.
We didn't know what was going on. And what was I thinking? I'm not really sure. Just really wondering why she would be losing this blood, and being that the doctors couldn't find out what was going on.
The following day, they gave me a blood transfusion. They gave me 3 units of blood. And then they did some tests and they didn't find a bleeding ulcer. So the next step was a colonoscopy, which they scheduled a week or 2 later.
After the colonoscopy, the doctor came out and told me that she had a tumor, that they could see a tumor, and that she was going to need surgery. At that time, I really didn't think too much about it. I mean, I just knew that she was going to have the surgery and she had a tumor, but I didn't realize what the tumor was.
When I woke up, we were on the way to radiology to do x-rays and all kinds of other tests. So there I asked her what they had found, and she said they found a tumor, and then I asked her if it could be cancerous, and she said it could be. And I remained calm. I didn't react. I didn't really know what was going on, but I really wanted to find out what was going on because I was just sick all the time.
I really was shocked. I mean, I guess when the word cancer was finally used, it was really a big shock. I mean, like I said, I didn't know what the tumor was, but I just knew that it was not going to be an easy time for her.
I didn't really think it was real. And it took me maybe a couple hours to actually think about it and let it hit me, because I really didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it.
I was surprised. Doctor says that, like, I probably had that tumor there for about 2 years. I complained to my doctor, my regular doctor, about pains here and pains there, but he always said, can't find anything, there's nothing wrong. But even though I kept feeling bad, he kept saying I was fine.
I was really worried because my mom, she's very strong. She carries the family through. She's always there. She's very caring. She's very nice. I didn't think that she deserved it because of what a great person she is. A lot of people say that she has a heart of gold.
The day that I found out I had cancer, my husband was working in Gallup with the company he was working for. I picked up the phone and I called him, and he was devastated. He cried over the phone. He just didn't know. The guys that were with him out of town, they just brought him straight home. They didn't hesitate. They just said, we're taking you home.
And when her other coworkers too, they told everybody where she worked that she had cancer and that she needed hours. They donated her a bunch of hours. They donated her over the limit. They actually had to give a bunch of people back their hours because they went over her limit, and she was only allowed so much.
I was trying to be strong for her and tried to do as much as I could for her before she had that. You know, we had a little reunion with the sisters together for one day, and I remember praying for her and just trying to be strong for her.
When she went into surgery to take the cancer out and find out at what stage she was at, I remember I cried when she was right before she went into surgery.
I just went with it. There's not really, I didn't have a reaction. My faith is what kept me together. I was positive, and I knew that the Lord was there with me. So whatever path I was set to follow, I was just going with it.
Seeing your mom going through the surgery, it was hard because she is my baby sister. So, and then not having our parents there to be there for her, I really felt like I took that role, that I became the mother for her. And it was hard just waiting there. I mean, it took a while. I mean, the surgery was, I can't remember how many hours it was, but it was a long while.
The doctor came into the waiting room, and he was actually pretty surprised at how many people were in there. He told us that she was at stage 3 and that it didn't go into the walls. It didn't spread, basically, and that she was probably just going to have to do chemo. I was really relieved then, but I was still worried about her.
I felt much better. And like I said, that's when I broke down, but I think it really was more out of relief than out of worry.
I woke up, realized I wasn't gone. I was still here. I had an incision from the top of my stomach to the bottom. I had my stomach stapled. It was just a matter of recovering.
I was anxious to see her and to make sure that she was okay.
She kept saying that her back hurt and her back hurt. I felt really bad for my mom. I felt helpless because I couldn't do anything to help her take the pain away from her back.
I was in the hospital for six days. My family came to see me, my friends. It was around Christmas time. And got visitors, got Christmas things.
I tried to visit her as often as I could, tried to make sure that she had what she needed, and just to be there for her. That was my main concern, because when you're sick, and especially like the way she was, I really felt that I needed to support her and to make sure that she had what she needed, and that she knew that I was there for her, and that whatever she needed, I would try to provide for her.
As I was feeling fine, I was on blood thinners at the hospital, but they didn't send me home with blood thinners. They sent me home with lower tabs for the pain. So I was home 2 days. I was doing good, and then the third day I was feeling a little bit of pain, and the fourth day I was feeling a little bit more pain. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stand the pain. Then I went to see the doctor, and the doctor said it'll go away. And I said okay. So then I went through the weekend. Went back to the doctor on Monday because that pain kept getting worse and worse. And he said, well, we'll do a CT scan at the end of the week. You're supposed to be getting better, not worse. So I said, okay.
And she kept going in and asking for her doctor to do something about it, and he just thought she wanted pills.
I called the doctor down to where we were going to do the CT scan. I told him, make this pain go away. He said, oh, I can give you pain pills if that's what you want. And I was like, no, I don't want pain pills. I want the pain to go away. My husband told him she's not taking the pain pills. It doesn't help her. She just wants the pain to go away. So they did the CT scan. I met my doctor back upstairs in his office, and he couldn't see anything wrong, but he was focusing on the surgery that he had performed. The radiologist called him and told him that my organs were clotting. My blood was just clotting, and that's why I was in a lot of pain. My body was creating blood clots to my organs. So they rushed me in. They admitted me. I was there for another 6 days. They kept me on blood thinners.
It was hard seeing my mom giving herself shots for the blood thinners.
I was scheduled to do 12 treatments of chemotherapy. And my husband and I both went for a consultation where they told you what chemotherapy was all about, what I had to do and what I could and couldn't do. I had to drink plenty of water. It couldn't be cold. Everything had to be like lukewarm. I was going to be very sensitive to cold stuff, so they gave me gloves. If I wanted to get anything out of the refrigerator or the freezer, I had to use the gloves because it would hurt my hands. A week later, we went to my first day of chemo, which I wasn't sure what to expect. So we went. They had me sit down, and they were mostly like IV liquids that were going to go in. I had a port right up here, and from the IVs, instead of connecting the IV in my arm, the port was put for that reason because they were going to poke me so many times. So they would put this long needle in my the port. I was there for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and I was fine. I felt fine afterwards. Everything was good.
Well, she was going through chemo. There wasn't too much that I did for her. I just tried to call her and just let her know that I was there. And through this whole time, of course, I prayed for her all the time. I wanted to be sure that she knew that. But yet it seemed to me that she was much stronger than I was. She has such a deep faith, and I really know that that's what really got her through this whole time. She always had that smile on her face, and I was really amazed at how she handled it, the whole situation.
My third chemotherapy, I went, and my sister went with me, one of my sisters, because my husband couldn't go because it was on a Tuesday. But my white blood cells were pretty much really low. And with the chemotherapy, it would have been even lower. I would have been really prone to infection. So I couldn't do it that day. So I had to go back 2 weeks later and do my other chemo. And they did it on a Monday. So my husband went with me on Mondays. My chemo was scheduled for Mondays, and my husband went with me for every chemotherapy I had. And after that chemotherapy, they gave me a shot for to boost my white blood cells. Little did I know how much it was going to hurt me afterwards. My bones, everything hurt. I couldn't move. I was in bed all weekend, and those are just one of the side effects.
And I know that while she was going through chemo, she didn't have an easy time. It was hard for her. She was weak and not feeling good. And at the same time, she had to continue working. And to me, that was the hardest thing, to see her being so sick and so weak, and then having to get up every day to go to work. That was really hard for me.
When she was going through chemotherapy, I still worried about my mom because she would, like I said, she would get tired. She would still feel pain in different parts of her body, and it was really hard. It was hard for me and my other family. She was still very strong though. She kept her faith the whole way.
The more chemo I had, the worse I was feeling. I couldn't eat after chemo. My appetite, I'd lose my appetite, and then the food just didn't taste good, so I ate very little. And as the more chemo I got, the less I wanted to eat. My loss of appetite was lasting for almost 2 weeks, and I kept getting worse. I kept getting more tired, that there was just too much in me, that I was feeling really bad.
I could tell that it was affecting her. She was tired a lot. She couldn't really eat because she couldn't taste the food. I remember I asked her for one of the birthday parties if she was going to eat, and she said that she wasn't because it doesn't taste good. She said that she couldn't taste it, and it just didn't taste good at all.
My doctor told me I wasn't going to lose my hair. My hair was supposed to not go away. But little by little, I kept losing hair. Every time I combed my hair would come off. When I come out of the shower was clogged with hair. And little by little, I kept losing hair, so I kept cutting my hair. It was long, and then I kept cutting it. I came home one day, my hair was falling off so much that I got the clippers, and I told my husband, shave it off. I said, because it's going to fall off. So he shaved my head. And right before he was finished, I looked at him and I cried because I was losing my hair and my life had turned. I was going through a lot of things, a lot of changes, things that I've accepted. And so we shaved my head. I cried, and I was fine. I ordered a wig, which is in this. No, I hadn't ordered the wig yet. I used bandanas, and I would put them around my face, like my head like that, and then I have a hat that I would wear right with the bandana. And I did that for a couple of weeks. I went to work with the hats and the bandanas, and then finally, I found a wig that I liked. Though the color was blonde, I wasn't a blonde, but that's the only color they had, and it came out. It was like really long. I mean, it was like, woof, a lot of hair. So I got the scissors, and I trimmed it around and made it fit the way I liked it. I learned my husband and I got really close. Him and I both lived a day at a time, and we accept each other. My husband was a very strong supporter. He's waited on me hand and foot. I'd catch him at night, and he'd come over and give me a hug and tell me he loved me. And he just would watch me sleep. And he was happy to see me get up in the morning. It was eye-opener, I guess. You know, you don't realize what you have in life until you may not have it. So finally, I went on countdown, and I finally went through my last chemo, and that was my worst one. After that, my appetite kept, I got back. My energy level still hadn't returned. I still get really tired. I had to go to the doctor after chemotherapy. I had to go see him in 3 months. We did tests, and they did put me on blood thinner. Well, I still had my blood thinners, and he did a test to see if he could take me off the blood thinners, and he couldn't do that because I'm prone to blood clots. My numbers are so high that he he can't take me off of them at this point. Last week I went to the doctor. I had CT scans, x-rays, and more blood work done. And he said everything looked good. I'm cancer-free for today.
I'm really, really glad and thankful that she seems to be doing okay. And I have to keep that positive outlook that God He's a miracle worker. And what He did for her, I really think it was a miracle because she's been through a lot. And she, like I say, she has that faith that keeps her going. And I think I know that everything will be all right. I mean, she seems to be much better now, and we don't know what the future holds for us, but like I said, she has that faith and she knows that whatever happens or whatever happens in the future, she'll be able to handle it.
My advice is if you got to go to the doctor, listen to your body. Go to the doctor, insist that there's something wrong with you. The doctor says there isn't. You just insist. Because if you feel that there's something wrong, find out what it is. Because you never know.